100 years ago, the average lifespan was 40 around the world. Now, of course, that included a lot of infant births and maternal mortality and so on. It wasn't that nobody lived more than 40, but if you were born, the average lifespan was 40. It's now 80. So it's doubled in 100 years, basically, because of hygiene and antibiotics and this, that, and the other. Whether it will get much longer, it's going down in the U.S., by the way. Who knows? Probably not. I mean, the 2,000-year possibility is we might hope for it, but right now it doesn't seem very likely. So this is what we have. We have very few years, and we have this arc. And as you said, it is within that, which is our lives. We're all going to be dead. It's the one certainty that Wall Street people cannot contradict. Within that, we have all these joys, all these things to appreciate, new things, and so on. It would seem that the shortness and shape of our lives are, at least practically speaking, the condition for our joys, our excitements, the things that we value. Somehow the two are connected. And now I'm going to speak as a theologian more. It does seem to me that death itself, that is to say our mortality, makes possible beauty, joy, love, and so on, as does birth. The two of them are necessary. They're part of what makes possible the fact that there are wonderful things that we experience and encounter. And it does so in part, a large part, by defining the fact that we are creatures. We don't make ourselves. And even if we're not religious, we have to admit that. We do not make ourselves. We are given somehow. From a religious perspective, we're given by God. I'm born, that's a gift. Everything is a gift. And death itself represents the giftedness of life. We don't possess it. You give a gift to somebody, it's a sign of affection, of a relationship, of something like that. But it's not something we have constructed such that we possess it in that personal, fabricating fashion. It's something that's been given to us. Part of birth and death represent this sort of openness, this receiving character, which is who we are, I believe, as human beings. And to that extent, mortality is not an evil. I know we think, and even in the Christian tradition, there's long streams of that tradition that see death as the result of sin and therefore the devil and so on and so forth. But you should understand that that is only one tradition. It's not the only one within Christianity, certainly not in Judaism. Death is good, according to many theologians, both Jewish and Christian. Our fear of death, our being possessed by death, and our choices being determined by that fear and worry, that is an evil. But the fact that we're given into this world is the great miracle of being alive and all the joys that come from it. And by the way, I know we're going to talk about suffering in a moment. I'll just say suffering is a part of that. It's not the contradiction of our lives as being given to us. It's a reflection. It's a taste of the contours of our life that are not ours. I sort of lost the original question. What does mortality mean? It means that I can trust in something bigger than me. Now, if you don't believe in a God, maybe that's harder, I don't know. But for me, that trust in being given into this world and you given to me, and the fact that it's not mine to organize and to make possible in its fundamental way is a miracle. It is wondrous. It's what we gaze, it's part of when I gaze on the birds and so on. That's part of that wondrous gazing. And, do I want to live for 1,000 years? I don't know what it would mean, but this sort of thought experiments, what would happen if our life just went on and on forever? I think there would be problems there, to be quite honest. Big problems from the point of joy, from the point of thanks, from the point of witness, as I said, of this discovery of being cared for by somebody else and what have you. So I think dying is a gift. I'm not saying it's what I'm looking forward to, but I will come back to that, I think, in the end. I think we have to not organize, we have to sort of, our attitudes do have to be shaped towards a sense of death as something that comes to us as a gift.